My name's Les Schultz. I'm Ngadju bloke, and we're at Buldanya Rockhole. Buldanya means sinew in the Ngadju language, and basically the sinew was used for many purposes, including weapons, binding weapons and tools. Use it like a rope to tie up stuff. So Buldanya Rockhole is known for hunting and for the people, Ngadju people, to survive. And right here we have a small nama that our people cleared out and grinded out over the years. So a bit of mining in the sense that it's to farm water, and the farming of the water then brings the animals. And some of those farming methods were a bigger water hole down further and the smaller one up higher where the runoff from where the water came. And this particular one would block off the larger water holes with sticks and logs and stuff so the birds like the emus and kangaroos couldn't get to it. And then we'd just make them come to this small one like this. And in this one here, we get our bushes that have got a chemical or drug in it, and we mix it in, we smash it up and we mix it in with the water in these small water holes, and we'd camouflage ourselves not far in the bush, and then as the emus came, they'd have a drink of the water, and we wait for a while, let the chemical do its role, and eventually the emu would be like staggering around, just drugged up. And that'll be the moment that the Ngadjus will run out with their hitting sticks and hit the emu, and they've got some food. And that was the way how we farmed off the land the emu. We farmed them through the practice of drugging the water. We farmed the water even. As you can see, the smooth surfaces we've grounded throughout generations, and it's just constantly getting bigger. And even along these rock holes, you see the quandong all the way along, and we carried seeds with us traditionally, and we planted them along the way with their host trees, because the quandong tree needs a host tree. And so if you walk between the rock holes, which came up every 20 k's apart, you'll find all these quandong trees. So that theory that Aboriginal people just wandered around aimlessly and go walkabout is false. And we had a structured way of farming, and it's continued right through, and we've survived in this dry country by knowing where we was going to go to next. And as I mentioned before, the clouds dictated where we went to, and the water farming, and that was a method of survival, not only for water but also for the encouraging of animals to come and drink, where we sort of drugged them up with some of the bushes that we got from our bush, and then that's bring food to our table. And also we farmed all the quandong seeds right throughout from rockhole to rockhole. So yeah, it wasn't a walkabout, it was a structured, planned way of life, and Ngadju have survived in this arid country, the Great Western Woodlands. We're still here to tell the story, and this rockhole here is a testimony of thousands of years of practice. And this stick you see here is to help the smaller creatures. If they fall in the water, they can climb out off this stick. So there's all these practices that we do, and we are one connection to the land in spirit, and we are one connection to the land from the day we're born. It's instilled in us. And so it's not about some of us going into a conservation mode as we learn about life. It's we're born into this life. This is our way of life. This is the Ngadju way of life. And the Ngadju Nation, we want to protect that for future generations and for the visitors to our lands to understand that we didn't just go walkabout, but we had a structured way of life every day. Being respectful for Ngadju is just simply listening to Ngadju, especially when you're out on country. And if you're in Ngadju company, it's okay to ask questions, and it's encouraged that you listen a lot more than speaking, especially on Ngadju country, because we do know a lot about the landscape. We do understand a lot, but if people give off a I guess a bad vibe, that they're not interested in listening what Ngadju have got to say, well then Ngadju will just take that as a insult, and Ngadju will step back and let that person try to make their own way in country and make their own way around the community, but it will come back to bite them, because Ngadju have a lot to offer. It's just that we haven't had the opportunity to share that skills, to share the knowledge, to share our culture, which is thousands and thousands of years old. And we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so it's better to listen and then to speak all the time. And sometimes the quietness is where you'll find the gold nuggets in Ngadju, how he speaks and how she speaks. So respect the culture, respect the way of life, respect the principles, and we're adapting into a phase where we're developing cultural obligations or cultural policy.
Hello, my name is Peter Schultz. I'm a Ngadju Ranger, and I'm looking forward to looking after my country. We've been learning about different trees. The eucalyptus tree, that's what we've been learning about most. My favourite thing of being a ranger is learn about my culture. There's a lot of stuff to be learned around here. It's important that young kids learn about our culture to keep it going in the future and tell their kids and their kids after that. Here I am standing on Nganamara nest. It's a popular bird for the Ngadju Rangers, and the Nganamara lays his eggs in the hole, and he as you can see, he puts rocks or leaves on top. He takes off, and then he comes back to test the temperature on the eggs, and if it's too cold, it'll put more leaves on, but if it's hot, he'll take the leaves off, and he'll keep doing that, like he'll go getting his own feed. Yeah.
Well, we're at Bromus Dam sighting, and Ngadju Rangers have been training out here, and one of the finds was the Ngadju bird down here in this bit of water area here. Is an infestation, and Ngadju bird is a very nasty bird. If gotten into the sheep industry, the wool industry, it would have done a lot of damage. And so this fence that the Ngadju Rangers have worked in partnership with the Shire, done the Shire Council with, they've basically saved the wool industry here in southern Australia. And also Craig from West Train was out here, he helping the Ngadjus get skilled up, so that's a good thing too, that we're upskilling the young people and we're upskilling Ngadjus to work on their federal court native title area that's been declared, and this is one of the key areas that we're going to focus on. We manage this site every 6 weeks. We come out and pick up any new growth, and that will continue over the next few years. Even up to 7 years we'll have to manage this site so that no Ngadju bird gets into our wool industry, and we're happy and the wool industry is happy and we get to be out on country.
My name is James Schultz Jr. I'm a Ngadju Ranger. I recently just started yesterday, and what I like about the job is, well, yesterday we went out to some sites and stuff. We went out to 10 Mile Rock, and on the way back, we pulled up and looked at trees and everything. It was pretty good, like documenting the different salmon gums and like different bottle brushes and everything. Um, what also happened was there was an old guy who swerved because a kangaroo came in front of his car, and we got to him before the tow truck could. So that was pretty good. And like finding him, he was all good. Our project manager Mike, he pretty much called up to the tilt towing people to get the truck out there to get his car and everything, because some of his tires popped. But it was pretty good just being able to go out into country and being the people to look out for country and pretty much like look after people, even though they've been in like car crashes and everything. It's pretty important to like involve some of the young people into becoming Ngadju Rangers, but like it really is, because then it gets them like knowing about country, knowing about what sort of bush this is, whether it has some nutrients that's good for the body or anything. And it's pretty good because here you can pretty much just learn all that stuff. It's like right now we're pretty much just, we know some knowledge about plants and stuff and wildlife and everything, but we're also like taking steps into knowing about it because we don't know that much. Probably because of the like my people being wiped out and stuff, we just didn't really know whether that plant was for this or that plant is for this, because that knowledge was just whitewashed away pretty much. And this is a great way to pretty much get that knowledge back.
My name is Baron Yorkshire, working at Ngadju Conservation. Been here for a bit. It's not that long actually, but yeah, it's not too bad working here. Something different. Learning a lot about the land and stuff, cultures. Yeah, I reckon they play a big role in conservation. The rangers, we do a lot of stuff. Going out on country. The main project is malleefowls and stuff like that. Like if we can get out, or if someone tells us that they've seen a malleefowl and they come report it to us, we'll go out and look for the mounds and stuff like that. And yeah, pretty much cover a big area just to try and find it. It's pretty good. Malleefowl is a bird. The nest is about 2-3 meters high, something like that. Yeah, it's a pretty big nest that they make. I don't think they're endangered species, I think, so it's pretty good that we get out there and keep them, don't let no one actually go around and kill them off and stuff. So yeah, sensor cameras. Yeah, we got a few cameras out and about in the country. Yesterday we put 2 at 10 Mile at the rocks. Got a few somewhere sitting just north of Bromus Dam. Got a few other cameras going down where the fire break was. That happened a few years ago. Yeah. So sensor cameras, yeah, they're pretty much eyes and ears out there as well for us. So just to let us know that there's rare animals and trying to get the rare animals captured and stuff like that. So yeah.
Hi, my name is James Schultz Senior. I'm a senior ranger. Been out on country for a number of years here, looking after our land, going out bush, making sure that everything is all in its rightful places, and making sure that no one is out there desecrating our lands, and trying to just keep everything intact and happening the way that it always has been happening with our people. And our role in the past was to govern our land correctly and make sure that that everything happens smoothly and continues on its way. We're in charge of the Great Western Woodlands, our people, the Ngadju people. 2/3 of the Great Western Woodland, our whole claim, the Ngadju people's claim, is right in it. It's a very, very important role that we play, because the Great Western Woodland is the last remaining temperate woodland on Earth intact. So that's very important in regards when you look at that. It's like the lungs of the Earth still kicking on here, and yeah, we're making sure that everybody's getting a lot of fresh oxygen, and still happening in Australia. But again, yeah, we the mallee fowl, we look after the mallee fowls, making sure, monitor them, make sure that they're able to nest yearly, each year. They are an amazing bird, the mallee fowl. They, when they lay their eggs in the nest, the mallee fowl sticks his beak down the nest, and with his tongue he measures the temperature of the eggs. And if the eggs are getting too cold, he'll kick leaves back onto the nest to warm it back up, and then he'll wander off, and then he'll come back and put his beak back in the nest and put it with his tongue again, test the temperature. If it's too cold, or if it's too hot, he kicks the leaves back off. So that's how he monitors, that's how the eggs incubate correctly, and by the way of how that the mallee fowl is an extraordinary way of how the mallee fowl has survived so long. But they are here in our woodlands, and we are very good friends with them. Yes, the Great Western Woodlands, it's the largest intact dry woodlands on Earth, and it's here, it's our backyard, the Ngadju people, and we have an enormous responsibility in looking after it and maintaining it and ensuring that the woodland still remains intact, because we have a lot of competition where other people want to come and use the woodlands for other purposes, like in regards like mining and for other areas that they could harm the woodlands, and we do not want no one to harm the lands. We have to look after it.
My name's David Graham. I'm the on-country coordinator, or senior ranger, if you want to call it that. But yeah, that's my role with the young uns. As my understanding of an IPA is, it's just a thing that you put in to play for just to preserve country that's left of our native title claim. So mining and etc. comes on board. At least then we've got a negotiation tool, I suppose, to use. So, you know, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours, more or less. Spirit is always something good to have, being it on country or at home. It doesn't really matter, but our country is our home, so you know, it's something a part of us. We take with us when we go to other places. Yeah, it's just all around, I suppose. And you know, depends how people uses it, being it spiritually, mentally, physically. It all comes together in the end. I grew up here, Norseman always being home. To me, like, we didn't see the whaler side of it. You know, the greater Western Woodlands and all that. We didn't know, because to us it was home. We never saw the significance of what putting a, I don't know, boundary on it or whatever you want to call it. It was always home, you know. We knew where our home was. As far as we went east, you know, west, north, south, we knew where our home was, and that was the main thing about Ngadju. They all knew that, and even for other tribes as well, they'll always say, you know, you're Ngadju, you come from here, and we still get that respect from, you know, we might have had it hundreds, thousands of years, and we still got it today. When our juniors, rangers, walk with their uniform, you know, me and Les promoted it for, you know, 4 or 5 years now, Ngadju Rangers. It started off as a pipe dream, But to where it is today, it's, you know, we got 6 junior rangers, and as senior ranger, passing knowledge on to the next generation, and they'll pass it on to theirs.
This is a carcass of a camel. Camels grow quite large, you can see, it's like a big cow. And camels are feral in our landscape. They're introduced species, and they're running wild now out in the desert, and they're overflowing into our woodland, and they're eating a lot of our quandong trees, and they're drinking a lot of our waterholes dry. Our waterholes are only there meant to cater for the small mammals and the small rodents and stuff, and the lizards. But the camels come in, they drink it dry, and so our smaller species start to go into extinct, I guess, because there's no water from the camels coming in. And we hope to introduce a feral management plan in the coming end of 2017 and into 2018, and that's one of the highest feral management we want to sort is the camel, but also the cat is a lethal predator. There's also the horses, there's the foxes, there's the wild dogs, there's the brumbies, and there's donkeys. There's lots of introduced species out here in the scrub, and we want to manage them. And these camels, well, they're just very hard to manage because you can't get them out of the landscape, and it's very costly to cart them out, transport them out. And most methods are just shoot and drop. Whatever the way we're going to manage, we just want to get good biodiversity back on our rock holes and in our landscape, and eradicating the camel is one of those objectives.
So my name is Shreyas Wicker. I am a Ngadju Ranger. Yeah. Well, what I do is I study the language. I help out. I do the videos for the mallee fowls. I also learning about the eucalyptus, all the different sorts. So yeah, we've got the Junga Festival. My mother's part of the guys that's running it. So we've had to figure out a name, what we was going to do for it. So we called it the Junga Festival, as the little, little potatoes in the ground that my ancestors used to survive off.